But one of the things about estrogen is it allows you to tolerate more stress. So you could handle a 9 out of 10 and like maintain. It's like this bucket, you're just kind of the amount coming in and coming out is like the same ish. When estrogen goes down, that bucket turns into like a coffee mug. And so you haven't changed anything, but what you can tolerate and like hold in that cup decreases substantially. And this is where if that cup starts overflowing, we see more inflammation, our sleep gets worse, our thyroid slows down, our hormone production decreases even more, liver function gets worse, we get more bloating, we have food sensitivities we never had before, the weight gain starts just shooting up erratically, right? When you're like, I haven't changed anything. And so then we push harder by cutting calories more and exercising more and doing all these crazy things where we're just like dumping more and more water on this poor cup when really what we got to do is increase our capacity, empty out the cup a bit and decrease how much is going in. And so it really is this spot in your life where we are forced to reassess. But a lot of us have just normalized it so much. We're just like, oh, this is just life. It's just normal. It used to be worse before. Cool, your body doesn't care. Like
Right.
this is how it's perceiving things, right? So you can tell yourself it's normal all you want, and you can have fantastic mental fortitude and be able to endure so much. But physiologically inside your body, those two things you can tell yourself till you're blue in the face that, I'm not stressed out, but your body is clearly telling you otherwise, and there's things that you need to address.
One of the things you said, like at the beginning about, using hormone replacement or GLPs, like I always find that it's very easy for most people to throw the umbrella over well, they're taking hormones, of course they look like that. Or,
Hmm.
they're taking a shot, of course. And they never realize that just because you're using some sort of exogenous hormone, that doesn't mean that it's going to put on your shoes and drive you to the gym, or it
Hmm.
doesn't
Pick
mean
up
that,
the form and go
right,
where you
it's
need to
like
be.
like none of those things go together yet. It's the blanket statement, right?
Hmm.
And what have you seen, or what kind of misconceptions have you seen that people have over the relationship between introducing, whether it be some sort of, therapy related hormone use or other, and the facts?
Hmm. Yeah, so I mean, we have clients that we have a few that are on GLPs. Half of our clients are HRT, some of them are not, right? And it's really understanding, is your body going to respond the way that you want it to? And long term, like what do you need to do to maintain those results? And long term, what is that going to do to your health? Because we see in so many people, like I have lots of clients who we had a year ago, 2 years ago, they felt good, but they were like, I'm going to try the GLP and then totally, stopped doing the other things. And they've now returned and like we've done labs and stuff and we're like, oh my gosh, like things have gotten significantly worse after your year away. Or they're like, I got to my goal weight and I don't look the way that I want to look. And it's like, yeah, because you lost so much muscle and muscle helps with so many different things in our body. It's not just looking good, it's your ability to be able to recover from surgeries. Like we know if you have more muscle, you have fewer surgical complications. Your hospital stays are shorter. You are less likely to end up in the hospital, less likely to have a hip fracture. Your all-cause mortality decreases, so your life expectancy increases. There's so many other things. And when we're looking at, kind of this expectation of if I take this, I'm going to have this, the amount of inflammation that people have these days, like it is insane. When we're looking at the stress hormones, we know if your cortisol is all over the place, if it's really high or if it's like tanked, like we know your body's going to be inflamed. It's not going to respond the way that you want it to. And it might make you feel better a little bit short term-ish, right? But long term down the road, what do you want 80 to look like? That's always my biggest concern. I will never
Right.
forget going hiking and seeing this one with like a 75th birthday sash when she was hiking with her grandkids, with her kids. I'm like, that's what I want. I don't want to be the 80-year-old grandma in a nursing home that I have to beg my kids and bribe them to bring their kids to come visit me once a month for an hour to play cards. Like, that's not what I want. And so it's really understanding the full scope of if I take this, what are all the risks? What are all the benefits? Is it actually going to get me to where I want to be? Yes or no? Is it sustainable? Like there's so many questions people have to ask, and I don't feel like enough people get the whole
I was gonna
informed
say, I
consent
was
because
gonna
you
say
don't
that, but
know.
why do you think that's so hard? Because I do think that people do know. Everyone has an example of an 80-year-old that's falling apart
Mhm.
and maybe an 80-year-old that isn't, right? It's like we are
Mhm.
all aware that but it's almost like, when you're like 18 or 20 and you think you're invincible and you think
Mhm.
death is so far away. So you do all these crazy things and then you get to your 40s, you're like, wow, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. This looks dangerous, right? You change because you're closer, versus being so far. And I think for
Mhm.
those of us in our 30s and our 40s, even sometimes in our 50s, it's like it seems like so many people miss the importance of doing it the right way.
Oh
And
yeah.
I agree with you that a lot of times people are desperate and they just want to do something to feel better. But I also think that people have really gotten used to shortcuts, meaning like they just
Oh yeah.
want, there are no shortcuts, but the idea of a shortcut,
But I
right?
also I also
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like there is a language problem. There there's a when people say I want to lose weight, they've said it so many times and they don't even know what that actually means, right? Because
Yep.
I always tell somebody, well, you could lose a limb and you would lose weight, but I'm sure that's
That's what
not
I
what
say
you want,
too.
right? Like that isn't what you're looking for, right? So
Hmm.
then why do you keep repeating that you want to lose weight, right?
Hmm.
So it starts fundamentally at the repetition of this narrative of, or even I want to weigh what I weighed in high school. It's like you were a child, right? It's like, why'd you stop there? Why are you stopping it? Why don't you want to weigh what you weighed when you were 10, right? That's not what you're looking for, but you keep using that language to solve a problem that isn't really there instead of getting down to the root of what you're trying to fix or solve. But because you don't update, that language,
Hmm.
then we can't even get to the shortcut part because you're taking the shortcut for something you don't even want.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, and I tell people all the time, like, you have this idea of like, if I'm this weight, I'm going to be happier because you look at what you were when you were that weight and you were happier. And I'm like, okay, when I think of like the time that I was the most fit in my life, I was single. I was working a job with crazy good flexibility. I could do what I wanted when I wanted. It was the first time that I was like living on my own after like living with partners. Like I had so much less stress. I had so much more flexibility. I got to eat what I wanted, meal prep what I wanted, not think about anyone else, just myself, just all this freedom. I'm like, I was fit because I didn't have as much stress, less financial obligations. I was actually sleeping. Like I had an active job. There were so many other factors. And now it's like you can't compare like the weight is the thing that made you happy. It's not. What are the things that you were doing back then that you're not doing now? Was it relationships that you had, friendships, more freedom, more free time? Were you reading? Like there's so many other things that people need to really understand. But also when we're going through perimenopause and menopause, we are going through like crazy huge life transitions in this time of our life. We have parents who are dying or sick. We have more financial obligations, kids leaving the house, going to university. There's weddings coming up. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I've been living in the same house as my partner for, the last 25 years. And now that our kids are out of the house, I don't even know who the stranger is that I'm with, and we're supposed to enjoy our time together. That's weird. I don't have hobbies as I've spent my whole life just like catering to my kids. There is so much. People are like, I'm not stressed. I'm like, crap. So much crap.
you're so stressed. You're making me
Yes.
stress. And most people don't realize how stressed they are. Like you said, they're like, I'm not stressed.
Mhm.
I'm not stressed. I do that all the time. Most people don't
Oh, me
realize, like,
too. That's why I have an
yeah,
Aura ring now. It's very humbling. I like
Yeah.
travel for a conference and I'm like, oh, I love this so much. And it's like, you had 16 hours of stress. And I'm like, oh, okay. That explains why I'm going to be sick in 3 days.
yeah, I'm always like, I'm good, I'm good. And the other thing is how many people don't realize how stressed they are, but then also how much people don't really take that seriously. It's
No.
almost like you either need to have a really big problem to address it,
Oh,
or
yeah.
you think that your stress is going to, diminish when. Like if
Mhm.
this, then that, right? Once my
Yep.
kid gets into college, or once my kids are bigger, or once I change jobs, or once my financial situation gets better, once I change like whatever, once I lose the 10, 15, 20 pounds, then I will be like, you're not, and we see
No.
it all the time, but most people will do, not most, a lot of people will do any crazy strict diet
Oh,
and
yeah.
they will follow it to the T and get no results. Like they will do something that's actually so difficult that you can't sustain, that is out there, but they won't stop and do the right thing that will long term help them. And
Oh
just
yeah. And I was the same. I was like, I'm the exception to the rule because I teach this stuff. And it's like, no, like I remember going into my first fat loss phase after I had my son. And it went well for about 4 weeks. And then out of nowhere, it was like I wasn't sleeping. My energy was crap. I was crying all the time. And the scale went up 7 pounds so fast. And I was only at 1,600 calories, which like isn't that severe of a deficit for me. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then I actually pulled back on all exercise for 7 weeks completely, only did walking, prioritized my sleep, and started adding my calories in. I was eating 2,100 calories and losing weight. Like it was insane. And I'm like, okay, I'm not the exception to the rule. Like
But
my
even that,
body
right?
clearly wasn't ready.
Like look at the way you positioned it. It's like 7 weeks. It's like who's who's doing 7 weeks of just walking and
Mhm.
prioritizing sleep these days when
Yep.
everybody's in such a rush, right? And it does make it difficult to to even explain that to somebody, or honestly most people that don't want
Yep.
to hear it, right? Like they just don't want to hear it. So what do you say to somebody who you can clearly see like you really need to dial it down, like or you're at a
Mhm.
conference and you're stressed, it's like you don't want to come back home and like double down because you took 2 days off to go to a seminar, right? Like
Mhm.
how are you positioning this stress management issue, uh, maybe somebody who's never heard of it. They're oblivious to the idea that they were even stressed. How are
Mhm.
you positioning that to like that beginner?
Oh
Is
yeah.
there a thing as beginner stress?
beginner.
Beginner stress.
Well, I always like to like educate. I usually send like a couple podcasts over where I explain like, okay, when stress goes up, this is how it affects all the systems in your body. And so that way they at least understand, okay, I can see how this is bad, but I don't feel like I'm stressed, right? That's what you get. It's like, oh, I understand that, but that's not me. And I'm like, bull crap, it's not you. And so it's like if I told you about my day, like and I get them to like tell me about your day. I'm like, where do you slow down there? And they're just like, oh, okay, I see. It's the not slowing down. And so it's sometimes changing the verbiage for some people of where do you actually slow down in your day? Scrolling on social media does not count because that increases your cortisol and your dopamine, which will make things worse. So I'm like, where do you actually slow down? Where do you actually fill up your cup? And so just showing them that sometimes helps a lot. But I'm also like, you are so keen to spend hundreds of dollars on supplements and all these crazy things. I'm like, how long and how much money does it take you to take 5 slow, deep breaths before you start any meal? That stuff is free and takes you 30 seconds. Like, how, like, just all these tiny little things. I'm like, just like eating a piece of cake every day, you know that's going to add up in the long run, probably, right? Why wouldn't it be the same with slowing down? Why wouldn't it be the same with, slowly adding veggies in, increasing your hydration, whatever it is? We know all those little things add up over time. And right now, the scales for poor health, high stress versus counteracting that, super, super unbalanced when we count all those things, right? Or I make them make a list of like, what are all the demands in your life? What are all the things that stress you out? And it's okay, how much of this do you think about every single day? How many of these things are you actually doing every single day? How are we counteracting that? Like sometimes having it written out and like visually seeing it is like oh my gosh, like wow. And like how much of the things that you do are for you versus the job you might not like or like obligate obligations that you didn't want to do, right? Like writing all those things down. It's like highlight the things that are actually for you. And then that's usually like a pretty big like,
Do you think
oh,
we have back to the language? Do you think that most people think stress is like a heart attack?
That's what
Like,
I was gonna say.
right?
Like,
mhm.
Like
what would
is
it take for it to be qualified as stress? Like,
right.
is the
Oh
house
yeah,
burning
it's
down?
gonna yeah, it's gotta be like everyone thinks it's a big trauma, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't have childhood trauma, I'm not stressed. Or, my finances are good. Or, like everyone thinks it has to be like these big, big things. I'm like,
Right.
no, sometimes it's literally you just wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is check your phone and then you slam coffee.
Yeah.
Like,
People don't realize that your body doesn't know the difference. Like you said, like that email,
no.
might as well the house be on fire or a lion's chasing you.
Exactly.
Like,
Well, and if
so
and it's just like over time, and if you never take those breaks, it's like, what do you expect your body to do? Like it's not sustainable. Like, would you expect to be able, like, you look at ultra marathoners, most of us are like, there's no freaking way I could do that. Not a chance. I would die. Like my body would not hold up. I would fall apart at like mile 10, probably sooner. Let's be honest. That was very generous for myself.
Right.
But like our lives are like that. We treat it like these marathons, but we don't make the connection. Like we think it has to be like this physical ailment or like this massive catastrophic event. It's like, no, it's literally the fact that you just don't stop. Like you literally do not stop. And then when you do stop to go to sleep, you're not even sleeping through the freaking night because you're so stressed out that your body doesn't know how to relax because it's on alert all the time. It's almost like, if it was a zombie apocalypse, you probably would not sleep well at night because you're like, if I fully fall asleep, I could die.
Right.
It's kind of like that. And people are just like, nah. And I'm like, do you
I'm
think it's
good.
normal to not sleep through the night? That's not normal. Super common, not normal.
Right.
Very, very different things.